Good morning, Natalie. How are you?
Good. Good morning, Dina. We're on video today.
Yes, we are. This is so exciting. It's our first video podcast. So I got my little
Yeah.
notes for it. So.
Yeah, you look very fancy.
I was excited and I thought I'd look a little bit, I dressed up for it just a little bit more than usually. Usually I'm in, my casual clothes here at the store, moving furniture and stuff. But so everybody, good morning. This is Dina Eckstein, and we are doing another episode of the Designing Woman podcast. And this is, like we were saying, our first video one. So we are very excited. We're testing it out. Yeah. Hi, Natalie. This is Natalie Piles. She's my co-host and producer of the show. How are you?
Good, good. Yep, I'm coming from Salt Lake City, Utah. I'm way over here in Mountain Time. So you're in Atlanta, the Atlanta area.
We're in Crabapple Market, so I do the show from the store, which is Excellent Designs the store. It's a furniture showroom and design center. We're here at on Heritage Walk, and it's very Main Street downtown feel. Yeah, I'm excited. I wanted to have, as you know from the original episode, I want to have a very organic feel of the show so that people can just come in and we can kind of, dare I say, ambush them to be on the show with us, or just to see who comes in and talk, and having that general store feel in a podcast. So if you see people coming in, if you see shoppers or hear the dings and the gongs, it's because I'm not doing it from a studio. I'm doing it here right at the store. Christina and Kristen are here with me. So you might hear them, or I might ask them a question. So and Natalie is in Salt Lake City and we're ready to go. Also, I want to preface, if any of the listeners or viewers have a question that they want us to discuss on the podcast, please write in, let us know. You can go to the website, www.thestore.design, and you can submit an email there, or you can reach out via phone at 678-694-8050. We'll have all these things on the show notes, so you can, you don't need to write it down. You can find it on the show notes.
Totally.
And so I wanted to talk today about selling a home and buying a home in regards to staging and preparing for sale. Okay, I think it's a big subject. And when I started my career in design so many years ago, staging was not heard of, right? It was something that was a new concept, and there was a lot of pushback in why should I stage, even from realtors. When I began staging, they were like, why do I need, my clients aren't going to pay for staging. We're not going to pay you $1,000, $3,000, $5,000 for staging. It's fine. And now it is part of the system. There is no, you do not stage your home when you're preparing it for sale. And that could mean just taking away and editing your home, or it could mean doing some fixing, upping in the home because it hasn't been maintained or it's dated, etc. So there's many stages into staging. Now, how long have you been in your house, Natalie, in your home?
It's like, it's going to be 12 years next month.
Wow.
So I've lived here a long time. Yeah.
So when you moved in there, or when you sold your other house, if you had one, did you stage? Did you have to stage your other place?
No, because I was renting an apartment, but I was actually an apartment manager at the time. And sometimes we would stage those for leasing. So I always thought that was really fun. A fun part of my job as an apartment manager, to get a budget to go buy some things to make the apartment look and smell and feel nice. It wasn't a full-blown like staging project, but we did get to do staging with the apartments that we managed.
Well, and that's still key. It is when you walk in anywhere, presentation is a lot in anything that you want to buy, even eating, you want to make it look delicious, on green slop just thrown onto your plate, even if it tastes
Yeah.
good, you're not going to eat it if it just looks like green slop. So
Yeah.
presenting a home is very important part of the selling process, especially if you wanted top dollar.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, especially if you think about what your home is up against, it would make complete sense to want to have it compare to the beautifully staged homes that are out there. And I can't even imagine not wanting to pack up at least half of my belongings and get them out of my house. If I were going to sell it right now, I would pack up half my stuff easily and get that out of there before I even thought about the actual staging, because I just wouldn't want it to look cluttery or to look just like there were a million things everywhere.
So it's funny because even as a stager, when I was staging, we sold a few homes in between our personal homes, and I still had a really hard time editing some
Really?
things. So yes, even though I know that I had to depersonalize, it wasn't so much, but there, like my husband's office in Virginia was filled with a lot of sports paraphernalia, and I loved it, and I didn't want to take it away. Like I personally loved it, and even though I know that it was a lot of things, it was clean, but there was just like, a lot of pictures and things on the wall. I had a hard time taking it away. So I loved it. Now, I will say when I did, I was an accredited stager, whatever that could mean, but staging, and let me go back a few steps. Staging is preparing a home for sale. So that means you're trying to appeal to masses. Design and decorating is personalizing it and customizing it to the homeowner or to someone. So it doesn't matter if you like polka dots and plaid put together on your wallpaper. If this is your home, that's what's going to happen. But if we're trying to sell it and we're selling to the masses, we're going to tone it down and make it more neutral and appealing to hundreds and thousands of people as opposed to what you like. So when I say edit, and you probably know this, but for those who don't, editing your home when preparing it for a sale means taking down personal items, your wedding photos, your children's photos, family photos of any kind, things that say, Eckstein house or welcome to my home, things of that sort, because you're no longer considering this your home and it is now just a house. And I used to tell clients that there's a big difference between decorating and staging. When I stage, I'm merchandising something. It is a product. Your house is a product to me, and I am merchandising. I'm going to make it look really nice and appealing for a buyer to come and buy, just like I merchandise the store. But when I leave the store and I enter your home and you're hiring me as a designer, I am no longer merchandising, but I'm designing and decorating. So decorating is doing it for someone's personal taste. Staging is merchandising a product. So I had a hard time merchandising my own, like the rest of the house was fine. I could do a lot of editing and I did a lot. We made it look clean and beautiful, but certain things I still had a hard time of letting go and not editing certain rooms. So it's hard for people. So when we stage a home, people, they expect it to be staged. They expect that when they're spending top dollar to come in and the house is updated, it is clean, it is functional. Those are all things that they're looking, aside from the size and the lot. So when you see a well-maintained home and it looks beautiful, probably they maintain the mechanics of the home, right? So the HVAC system was always cleaned and tested, and your pool and everything else. So it's an automatic feeling when you enter a home and you see that it's beautifully maintained or it's been refreshed and it looks clean and it's pristine, then you probably are the type of person who also has had the mechanics of the home, repaired, checked annually, you know, kept up in changing the filters out and things of that sort. So that's one of the reasons people should stage a home. Secondly, they need to stage a home to whet your appetite, right? So this is exactly what I'm looking for. Now, how do you do that when you're doing it as a mass appeal? Because your taste and my taste and Kristen's taste, when we walk into a house, are going to be three different kinds of tastes, you know.
Mhm.
And decorating, it's just like, does this work for me? How do I see things? And one of the reasons we edit, we take away personalization in any home when we are staging, is so that you as a buyer can imagine your things. When you see welcome to my home, you are claiming this still as your space. So for me to and see Natalie's home and says, welcome to my home, I'm gonna be happy that I'm in Natalie's home, but I'm not gonna see my things here because it's Natalie's home. My head has just accepted I'm in Natalie's home and not a house. So when you bought that house, Natalie, was it staged?
No, it was completely empty, actually. No one was living in it at the time. So there was not dressed up. There was nothing in here.
Was it updated and clean and maintained?
It was clean, and that was huge for me. It was in good shape. There wasn't wear and tear, and that was a huge factor for me. It was relatively new. I think it was only 4 years old.
Now, and I'm going to bring in someone that doesn't know that they're being brought in, but Kristen just sold her house. And Kristen, and so did you stage your house, Kristen? Kristen works with me. She is my design assistant. So if ever any of you hire me, you're getting her as well.
Hi there.
So Kristen,
Hello.
this is Natalie.
Yes, we met.
Hi.
Yes, the other day with Bruce.
Mhm.
When you just sold your house, did you do a lot of staging and editing?
So, we actually pat myself on the back. We did not. We had our real estate agent walk through, and she was like, "Honestly, you're good." She recommended we have a very large master primary bathroom, and we did not have a rug in there, so she kind of recommended a rug. And maybe like a little staging, like a very large one.
Why? That's interesting.
She said for two different reasons. It makes it feel a little warmer. And also our bathroom is very clean, maybe even to the point of sterile. It's very white in there. And so to give like a pop of color,
Okay.
I brought in like a kind of, bright rug. It's kind of a more crazy design that I wouldn't put in just any room, but it did work in there. It worked really well. And then we just got like one of those that you use in your bathtub, like wooden.
Oh, yes, yes,
So
yes,
you're
like
taking
a
a
tea-
tub. Yeah. So we just got that and put some candles on there, and that was the extent of our staging.
Yeah.
Really, the rest of the house was
The,
good.
the reason I was surprised is because when I stage, I always pull all the area, the smaller area rugs and that's out. Because I feel like it's now just one large area and it chops things off.
Okay.
So that's why I was asking. So unless it's something like it's really bad grouch or it's really, uncovering something. And that was the other thing, especially in guest baths or children's bathrooms. I always took the mat out if I know they're boys and there's children's bathrooms or they're toddlers learning how to use the bathroom, because I always felt like, oh, I don't want to go in there. But that's good. I'm glad. And you're sold really quickly.
It took about a week and a half for us to sell.
Did-
Yeah, to get the offer we wanted. We got a few offers before that, but they weren't like what we had wanted.
Did you edit the home with personalization? Like, did you take things down that has?
I did remove a couple of pictures that we had, just like on a table or whatever. I always had fresh flowers in there. And just in the kitchen, like I did put away a few things that I use a lot, but that I knew made the kitchen feel bigger and cleaner if I got rid of them. So
Mhm.
before someone came.
Now I know, because you and I have talked about this, your floor was an obstacle, a
Yeah.
little hurdle
Our
for you.
floor was probably brought up with every walkthrough, and we did 50, 60 walkthroughs. It is a dark floor. It's very like engineered. I think it might even be particle board. I'm not really sure, but because of that, our dog would, run through the house or whatever, and he'd just like scratch it up. And
My floor is really messed up. Mine's engineered.
Yeah. so the realtor, and they're very experienced. They're a couple, husband and wife realtor group. They both were like, your floor's like, don't even worry about it. Like, you'll be good. But it was brought up pretty much every time. But
What did you hear? Our discussion about flooring here with
No.
the realtor?
and
So,
I did hear her talk about LVP, and that they were like basement, not on the main floor. And I thought that was interesting, because we kind of looked into doing LVP, and then we chose not to. We went with the real wood.
yes.
But so now I'm glad that we did that.
Even so I, like they said, if it's different when you're doing it for, you're not planning on selling it in the next 5 or 10 years, right? So, especially there's a price point and that I think that people expect real wood, real bricks, not facades, and then there's another price point where we're just doing,
Yeah, as long as it looks okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So I love LVP, like my floor is LVP, in the store. And I have no problem putting it on the main level of the house, like I want it in the main level of my home. But if we're selling it, I think it will, like they were saying, maybe a hindering, but for us with 2 crazy dogs that scratch up my floor, so even if it was wood, it would get scratched up, that I don't have a problem putting it on the main level. So that's a different thing. But as far as getting ready to sell, put real hardwood or at least engineered wood, depending on your price point and your budget. Did anyone ask you for a credit to do floors?
They did. They asked for a $5,000 credit, and we did do that. We toyed with redoing the floors ourselves, but as you know, decided that was a bad idea. So we just gave them a $5,000 credit, and really, we have a lot of rugs. I really love rugs, and we have rugs in most spaces in my house. And so we realized if you just, when we move out, obviously gonna take the rugs with us, and all of that floor is good.
Yeah.
So it really isn't too much for.
Did you have to do anything with your curb appeal?
I mean, have to, or we just like wanted to.
Well, I mean, for
Realtor
me,
said
so-
that we were good with the curb appeal, but I still chose to update the mulch, because I like
Mhm.
black mulch being like fresh.
Yeah.
And I did have all the bushes trimmed. Obviously, keep a clean lawn when you're showing your house, like keep it trimmed. Don't wait until we
Mhm.
mowing your lawn. So we made sure we did that too. And
Well, what about, okay, so one of the things when we were selling, Colton's now 11, so we haven't done this in a while, but we would have to hide his toys really quickly when that last minute visitor, so
yeah.
one of the things that you want to do aside from staging the home to what your realtor suggests is having bins for your shampoos as well as toys and dog toys, so that you can just haul them away. So in my shower, I kept it in a bin, like the cleaning bins that you said, the caddies.
Yeah.
That at any point in time, I can just put it under the sink and they would see a clean, bathroom, as
Yeah.
opposed to just having like
That's
things
really
of that sort. So staging, what did they say? Let me ask you that. What did your realtor tell you about your house and staging? Like you said that your house looked fine. We didn't have to do
She
anything.
was like, it's as if you live your life with a staged house. And I was like, oh, really? But we did always make sure we got the toys put away. And we did, like, before we even like thought about putting it on the market, we started getting out some things like toys.
Mhm.
And my youngest has he loves toys of all sorts, whereas my older one just basically has his Xbox.
Yeah, they
like-
will change the.
So, but yeah, for the younger one, we made sure that, you know, we had the bins ready to go and got stuff in storage before we started.
And, there's a lot of companies that are they're staging companies, right? But there are now, most realtor groups have their own stagers. So, like Jenny Doyle, I know she has her own stager that goes out there and they do the whole thing. But there are staging companies that go out and they do this for you. Some work only with the things that are already in the home. And others like myself, I would bring in new things, or if it was an empty house, I would bring in my own furniture and rearrange it. So part of the staging process is making it feel like maximizing your real estate inside, right? Your square footage. So we would sometimes they did it for the way their lifestyle is when they set the furniture in their home. So we would rearrange it so that it would feel a little bit more open, and it felt like the square footage is all of a sudden abundance. And one of the things that I will tip on is if you have a bit smaller scaled furniture and you have like a medium size home or a smaller size home, get rid of a lot the smallish furniture and put in a nice size sofa and or sectional, put in a coffee table and a very large rug.
Okay.
And the reason is they can see how much space you have with a very large sectional or sofa. Having a apartment size sofa and scale down to things of that sort, smaller chairs and what have you, they see the actual size of the room and think they don't have enough space for a larger piece. So
So would you do the same, like in a bedroom, would you say to have a king size bed in there so they can see that a king size bed would fit?
However, I would get rid of the dressers and anything large. And there's a lot of, people who still have quite extremely large pieces of furniture, that big 4-post bed with the Tuscan.
Yeah.
Edit those out, and just if you have that large bed, show them that you have a large bed. If you need to have a dresser or what have you, this is a time to go on Facebook Marketplace and find something that's just for the now, that it may not be your style, but make sure that it gives more walking space, and it shows again how much room you actually have. So again, this is merchandising your home. It's not about your style. Well, I don't like the modern look, or I don't like this kind of style. It's not me. It's okay, because it's just temporary. Hopefully it will just be a week if we do it correctly.
Right.
The other thing is, we were talking outdoor spaces. So whether it's a deck or a patio, I used to dress it up. If they didn't have patio furniture or an outside deck, if it's just a yard, I would make sure there's Adirondack chairs and like some sort of fire pit or what have you. But I would use geraniums, depending on the time of year, but geraniums are one of my favorite because they have this really deep red color. So if they see the bushes, the red bushes, or the red little flower basket outside, when they come through the hall, so let's say they come through the front door and you come, the living room's there, and you're going to the great room where the kitchen is, and you see the sliding door and you're looking at the red, you're looking through the door.
Yeah.
Put it in your minds thinking you have more realty. There's more living space. If they see seating in that area, your mind is saying there's a lot of space because there's more seating there. So it's kind of like an illusion that your mind accepts more real estate.
It's expanding the living area. Yeah.
A lot of times, even though they have a deck or the patio, it's not really seen because, until you go outside. So you can get them to see it from windows.
Yeah, draw their eye there.
She lived in Fairfax Station. She had a beautiful, I think it was like 6,000 square foot home. It was pretty large. And she had beautiful yard, and it extended to like almost like an upper hill area. So the area that's next to the house was just not a lot. You couldn't put a pool there. It was a flat ground, you know, they couldn't do anything. But if you went up just a little tiny arch, she still had an area there, and that was flat ground. And so one of the biggest things that people were saying was that they didn't like the yard. So what I did was I put a volleyball net in that back area with some Adirondack chairs, etc. And so from every point of the house, especially from the bedrooms, all the bedrooms upstairs, you can see that volleyball. And they sold it within a few days because they realize now that there is flat in. I brought their eye out to, so even if they didn't see it before, even they saw it before, they realized what it was. So they were able to go out. So part of staging is making sure you optimize all the spaces and bring your eye to those particular places and move your eye away from the things you don't want them to notice. So that's another part. So you're controlling people's eye movements.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. This conversation makes me want to stand up, jump up, and go clean my house.
It's not just being clean. If there's a
I know, but that would be the first step. And then I would want, that I feel like, I should always just have my house be as beautiful as if it were being staged.
That's hard. Even for me.
I know, but I want that. I want that.
And you can have that. You can have that. I will happily, when you tell me to, I will happily come out there and we can do a room for you. I think that would be
okay.
Fun.
Okay.
Right.
That would be amazing.
So yeah, I think that, there's a lot more to staging. I don't want to go deep dive into it, but if anybody wants to hear another episode on this, and if you wanted to write in your questions, we can specifically hit on that point. Do you have any questions that you'd like to ask me about staging as opposed to designing?
Well, what do you recommend for staging in the holidays? We're coming up on the holidays.
Very big topic because we did so some realtors from place to place, each realtor has their idea. Some say dress your holidays lightly, others say go for it, and others say don't at all. And the reason for that is because, again, you're selling to the masses, so they want to be able to visualize their own things in that space. My personal opinion, I'm not a realtor, but my personal opinion is don't take away your holidays. If you need to, either go for it or pause your selling and get off the market for a couple of weeks if you don't want it, and your realtor is specifically saying don't do this.
Not
the
to
one
do
thing
it, yeah.
I will say is make sure do not put your packages out while you're showing a home or any open houses. Keep your packages away, and while that is happening. Make sure that there's no hazards and tripping, like wires and things of that sort. Be careful of your smells, whether it's the holidays or not, but a lot of people are sensitive to smells. And during the holidays, we tend to pumpkin spice it, or bayberry and fir, all the things that they give someone else a headache. So just be careful. And then also, it's part of our lives. So I wouldn't say change it, but sometimes just scale it down. If you have, like me, 7 trees that you do all over, maybe just do 2 trees. Maybe don't do colored lights and just do white lights.
Okay.
Each culture has their own way of selling and interpreting a home. So you want to speak to your realtor that you're working with, because it may not be ideal for them, and they know their clientele. So, but I think it's okay. I think we should still celebrate what we celebrate, whether you're doing Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or Christmas or whatever else, or you don't do anything at all. The point will be, make sure you edit your house to the point that it will be likable to the masses, or at least most of the masses, that you make sure that it's safe. Put away your scissors, put away your knives on the counters, because there unfortunately has been horror stories about people who meet realtors and things of that sort. So you want to make sure those things are just put away.
Okay.
Make sure your personal items are put away, where your bills and the credit card statements and things of that sort are locked away and you can't, forge, especially during an open house. And any kind of bad aromas, if you have puppies or dogs or smelly kids, make sure that everything is freshened up. One of the things I remember seeing was a kid's bedroom, and the pillowcase was extremely black, like where the head was.
Oh, yeah.
But it wasn't like ever washed and it was stains. Either cover it up, but freshen up the home, edit your home so that it's not personal anymore, because it's no longer your home. Once you put it on the market, it's just a house. So you have
Okay.
to.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. I enjoyed this. I miss saging, but I don't want to go back there either. So you have a great day, Natalie. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Designing Woman podcast. I'm enjoying the video. And I think, I think there will be a lot more of this with samples.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.